want to talk to you about the other man in your life. We talk about other women in your life. We talk about other man in your life. And it's amazing how your numbers are similar, your temperament is similar. And in many ways, there's a passing of the baton from Rahul Dravid to Cheteshwar Pujara. And you've been very vocal in talking about his role in your development, sir. The story I read was how when you were playing a game in Bangalore, he just happened to be there for a jog and asked about you and wrote to Niranjan Shah saying, take care of this boy, he's good.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember the game. I mean the exact game, but yes, I do remember that Rahul Bhai told Niranjan Shah about my progress because I was playing under 19 at that time, and I think he must have told him that you should pick him for the Ranji Trophy at some stage sooner or later. So I did get a chance in Ranji Trophy later on as well. So yes, I mean my first interaction, from what I remember, was at the racecourse ground when I was leading the Indian team. I think Indian team was preparing for the World Cup, and there was a selection meeting over there in Rajkot. But I spoke to Rahul Bhai, and he told me that sorry, I'll have to go for the for the selection meeting soon. But you can always reach me whenever you are in Bangalore or whenever you are free. So when I went to NCA next time, I remember I had a chat with Rahul Bhai. He told me about what to do as a first class cricketer, and what is the gap between a first class cricketer and an international cricketer. So what kind of work I'll have to do, what are the changes which might be required. So I mean there were so many interactions with him later on. But yes, I mean my first interaction was at Rajkot, and then it kept on going, and I can always have a call with Rahul Bhai at any stage now.
It's interesting that you talked about the difference between first class and international cricket. It's a gap that a lot of people fail to bridge. There's some wonderful first class players who never seem to be able to bridge the gap from first class to test cricket. And the reason I'm asking you this is you're very committed to playing for Saurashtra. You're very committed to playing first class cricket in India as well. To you, what is the major difference between playing first class cricket and making it in international cricket?
I think the commitment and the desire to reach to the next level, because there are many players who are playing at first class level and they think that they are performing well. Yes, they are. There is no doubt about it. But there are times when you get easy hundreds in Ranji Trophy. There are times where you will have to work really hard to get to 100. So you just have to figure out that if you are performing well, then what is the thing which is required to reach to the next level. And I think it's the commitment, because it's not just about scoring runs at first class level. You have to start scoring runs at the next level, whether it could be Duleep Trophy, whether it can be India A games, because the performers, the Ranji Trophy performers always gets a chance to play for the India A team, and you have to start scoring runs at that level, because if you are playing in Ranji Trophy, the quickest bowler you might face is somewhere around 130, 135k. There might be one odd bowler who would bowl 140, 145, but most of the teams will have fast bowlers who are bowling at 130 kilometers an hour. So I feel that to be successful at international level, you have to start facing good fast bowlers, and you also need to prepare well against short ball, which I realized little later. I made my debut in 2010, and when I went to South Africa in 2011, I had my first eye-opener when I realized that I will have to improve my back foot game. I'll have to learn to be successful overseas and to tackle that. There were some changes which I had to make once I came back from South Africa.
The other thing, did he have a role in you batting at number 3? Because the story goes, he's standing at slip while you're playing for Saurashtra. Karnataka Saurashtra, that might have been the game. You're batting at 5. And he actually tells your captain, I think he should be batting at 3. Is that true?
Yes, I think so. He always suggested that I should be batting up the order. If I'm a good player, then there's no point me batting at number 5 for Saurashtra. The reason is the ball is old, and Ranji Trophy, the bowlers are most of the times they get tired after a partnership. And if you are playing in Rajkot, it becomes really difficult for a bowler. So if you're batting at number 5, you won't face a new ball, and it'll be an easier situation to bat in. But if I'm batting at number 3, there is more responsibility, and even the bowlers are fresh. So you have a competition. But if you're batting at number 5, most of the times you will end up facing spinners. If you want to get better against fast fast bowlers, I think number 3 is
So what was the reaction when on your test debut you were pushed up to number 3 and he was asked to bat at 5 in the second innings?
Well, for me it was an opportunity because after the first innings I thought I wouldn't get a chance to bat in the second innings because I was batting at 5, and then suddenly my guy told me that I'll be batting at number 3, and he also explained the reason that because I am a youngster, they don't want me to be under a lot of pressure. And Rahul bhai, I mean, if he's batting at number 5, if there is a collapse, he can handle the situation. But if I'm batting at number 5 and if there is a collapse, there will be a lot of pressure on me. So they just told me that you just go out there and enjoy your game and play positive cricket.
Are you similar people? Very intense.
Similar.
I knew Rahul very well when he was playing. Very, very intense as well. But the similarity extends. Did you think you'd reach a stage where 3,000 runs, 4,000 runs, 5,000 runs, all scored in exactly the same number of innings, almost all from batting at number 3?
Yeah, it's a coincidence. I mean, I still can't understand how can it be possible, because same number of innings. It's such a big coincidence. But yes, I mean, there are many similarities, but I still feel that he's more educated. His knowledge of the game is much higher on the higher side. Although I have a lot of experience now, but even now I can say that when next 4 or 5 years down the line, whenever I finish playing cricket, I think when he finished playing cricket, he had more knowledge about the game. He understood the player psychology because I've played with him, so I know. I mean, being a youngster, when I asked him about how can I progress or whatever the difficulties I was facing in my cricketing career as a batsman and even as a player, he had answers to those questions. But sometimes when a young player is asking me about their difficulties, yes, I'm able to answer most of the questions, but the way he explained, I mean, it was really easy for me to digest all the answers and to start working on it. Maybe it could be because I batted at number 3 and we were in similar situations, but yeah.
I'll tell you what else you have in common. He never ever talked himself up. I've tried to ask Rahul so many times. He never ever said, I'm a great player, I did this. But there's one record of his that you've broken, which is Rahul Dravid went 40 balls without scoring a run in a test innings. And you took 54 in one match.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I think does the pressure get you? That day when Rahul was batting, I was just seeing the clip a little while ago. And after every ball, the crowd would applaud. And when he finally scored a run, he waved his bat around. You know, it's not very Rahul. But this brings me to the next phase of this program I want to talk to you about. Because playing these long innings, doesn't matter the scoreboard's not moving, but you are there. How easy is that to ignore the scoreboard? Because you're looking at it, it's not moved too much, but your role is different.
Early on, I think when you are in a situation like when you haven't scored a run for 50 balls, it starts playing in your mind. But once you are off the mark, once you have scored 10, 15 runs, then I'm settled. I mean, then I'm not worried about the scoreboard much. But I still remember that particular innings where I took 53, 54 balls to get off the mark. And there was a stage where I had to tell Virat, I mean, I need a single. Even if it's an inside edge, I won't mind. But I need a single because it starts playing in my mind now. So, I mean, if I'm in a situation where I haven't got off to a start in 30, 40 balls, it becomes difficult. But yes, otherwise, if I've scored 10, 15 runs in say about 70, 80 balls, I'm not bothered because I know I have a role to play. I know I'm tiring the bowlers out, and if they are bowling well, I mean, you have to respect. There are times when if it's the first session of a test match and bowlers are fresh, wicket is fresh, it's doing a lot, then there's not much you can do as a batsman. If you want to score runs, if you try and be positive, there's a possibility that you might score quick 20, 30, but you will end up getting out after that. So, I mean, you don't want to do that because I clearly remember the innings at Adelaide when I felt that I could have been a little positive in the first session, but I survived that session. I just scored 10 to 15 runs in the entire session. But later on, I could capitalize in the next 2 sessions.
It was quite a test innings that, because it was 80 for 5, 120 for 6, and then you and Ashwin for a while, and the tail took it to 250. But by the end, you were playing a lot of shots in that innings in Adelaide, which was good to see. Actually, one of the things you mentioned in an interview once was about switching off, and that's a conversation you've had with him too. But this conversation, I'm sure you'll have with a lot of people. When you're playing these long innings, you're batting for a day and a half. Can you switch off at the non-striker's end, or is that something you've got to learn? There's a young kid coming in. Can you learn to switch off?
Yes, he can. I feel that if you're at the non-striker's end, what you need to do is just stand and observe things rather than being very intense and try and look at what they are trying to do. Because there will be many field changes. I mean, if you're playing test format, you know that the bowler will keep bowling in one channel. So if you are at the non-striker's end, your striker will face at least 3 to 4 balls in an over, or it could be a maiden over. You're just standing there. So you don't want to lose the energy. But at the same time, you just need to observe things. You can't be just switched off completely. So you need to understand what the bowler is trying to do, but when he's just bowling the delivery. But once the delivery is over, I try and pick some spots where if it's a scenic cricket ground, I'll try and keep watching those scenes. I'll try and observe something at the stadium because if I'm at the non-striker's end, I don't want to look at the opposition fielder. I don't want to look at what they are doing, what the bowler is trying to do. I'll just, when the bowler is running in, I'll start focusing then. And it's not an intense focus again, because you are just observing his run-up. You are just observing how he's holding the ball. And once he finishes his delivery, you again switch off completely.
You know, for a minute, I was wondering where you're headed when you said at the non-strikers end, I'm watching the crowd, all the scenery there, I'm looking at people, and I said, okay, I'll be on to something here with Pujara. But I get what you're saying. You know, summer months, you head in the opposite direction. You go and play a lot of cricket in England. Sadly, it didn't happen this year because of all the trouble that is there. A lot of players have said that they complete their red ball education going to England. You complete your white ball education when you come to India. I met you in England, and I got the feeling that you were relaxed at home. You were enjoying your cricket. You like going there every summer?
Yes, I do. I enjoy the life over there. You are completely relaxed. There's no pressure. There's no... pressure to perform is different, but when you are living a life, you don't want to look out for so many things, because when I'm in Rajkot, I still have to look after so many things. I have a cricket academy at Rajkot where my father's dream is to provide the best of facilities to them. So if I'm in Rajkot, I have some pressure to just go and visit the academy where players are practicing well. They are getting the best of facilities. So I still have some things to look out for. But when I'm in England, it's just my family. If my father is with me, we know that we are just there to play cricket. And once that time is over, it's all family time. You are at home just talking about something else. I've made sure that when we are at home, we are not discussing cricket at all.
That's impossible. I've met your father. That's impossible.
It's impossible. I completely agree. But thanks to my wife Pooja, she also knows that I don't like talking cricket when I'm at home. So my father will start a conversation, but Pooja will take it somewhere else. So she will understand that I wouldn't want to talk about cricket. So when we are at home, most of the times we start discussing something else now.
Tell me, there's a tour of Australia around the corner. It seems just the other day that you were batting. Some people are saying you go to Sydney, you'll still be batting. And now there's another tour coming up. A day-night test match in Australia. What were your impressions of playing the pink ball game in Kolkata?
I think it's tough for a batsman, especially in Kolkata, where the twilight period is far more difficult than the other places. Also, the pink ball swings a lot under light. But if you're batting in first session, it's kind of easy. So the strategy-wise, I think everything changes. Normally in a first session in a test match, in a day game, that's the most challenging session if you're facing a fast bowler. But in a day-night game, if you are facing a fast bowler with the new ball, it'll come on nicely. You can play your shot. So I think the strategy-wise also it changes a lot because you have to be a little cautious when we are playing under lights against a fast bowler. Even if the ball is old, I still feel it was still challenging. So when we go to Australia and play a day-night test match, I'm sure it will be challenging for us. But that's the challenge. I think the way things are moving forward, there could be many, not many, but there will be at least 1 or 2 test matches in a year which will be played with pink ball. So as a professional cricketer, you have to be ready for that.
With the light, do you think it'll be easier to pick a ball in Adelaide than it was in Kolkata?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because during that time, I think their daytime is slightly longer than ours. I don't know when the sunset is, but usually it's close to 8:30 in the night. So the first 4 or 5 hours is already played. So majority of the time, I think there'll be daylight. So I think it will be slightly easier from what it was in Kolkata.
You know, we got the feeling in that Kolkata test, but we are watching it from a distance, watching it from 100 meters away, where the game always seems easier. But we got the feeling the ball was skidding on quicker. Does that happen? The ball comes on to you quicker?
Yeah. It was. If you are facing a fast bowler who is going 135 kilometers an hour, it felt like he's bowling 142 to 145 kilometers an hour. So there was a big gap because the ball was skidding on.
Does it worry you, this gap? I mean, the last you played was Saurashtra, right? In the Ranji Trophy, straight after. Does it worry you that there's going to be such a big gap before you go and play your first international again? And it could be a day-night game for all that you know. We don't know.
It is challenging. I don't really care about it, or I'm not bothered about it. But yes, it's not easy. If I'm very honest, it's not easy. But I've been in this situation in the past. So I've gone through this. I've been through this process at least several times in my test career. So I feel that I'm used to it now, and I know I'll have to play some matches if possible before the Australia tour. If there's an opportunity, if there's no opportunity, I'll try and play some games locally, because it is important to play some matches. You can have all the net sessions, but I mean, in net sessions you're not going to get out, and even if you get out, and there's no pressure on you. So I'll have to start getting into the match scenario at some stage.
You know, there's a lot of people who enjoy watching you bat. There's some people who enjoy watching Virat Kohli bat. There's some who enjoy watching a Steve Smith or a Joe Root kind of bat. What are the kind of players you enjoy watching? Suppose you're a spectator, you're sitting at home. What are the kind of players you enjoy watching?
I would love watching someone like Kane Williamson bat. I wouldn't mind. I mean, if it's AB de Villiers in South Africa, the way he can take on the bowlers, I think it's an incredible talent. Not many players can do that. Although you have a positive game. I mean, we have seen players like Virendra Sehwag, David Warner, who can open the innings and be positive. But someone like AB de Villiers, he understands the situation, and at times he can be positive and he can still defend well. So I like watching such players. Yes, I mean, I've missed out Smith. There have been many players, but I'm someone, if I'm very honest, I'm someone, once I'm at home, if I'm not part of cricket, I would not want to watch cricket. Because for me, switching off is completely switching off from the game. So I mean, recently there have been test series against England and West Indies. I will follow the scorecard. I might watch for 5 to 10 minutes, but that's it. I mean, I wouldn't want to watch the entire session or an hour's play, because I still feel that if I want to stay fresh, if I want to stay hungry for this game, because I'm practicing almost every single day, I go to the ground. I'm in an environment where we are discussing cricket. When I'm following a certain routine, if I'm going for a training session, I'll meet a teammate who will again talk about cricket. So I want to stay away from cricket as much as possible.
Everyone talks, you know, whenever there's talk about the big four, the big three, the big five, it's always about batsmen. I mean, people used to talk about Sehwag, Dravid, Ganguly, Tendulkar, Lakshman. Then people talk in this era about different players. Suppose you had to pick the Fab Four of bowling. Suppose someone said, for Cheteshwar Pujara, who are the Fab Four of bowling? You've played against so many. Among all those playing international cricket today, or all those that you faced today, who would be your Fab Four?
Just fast bowlers or including
whatever you want, whatever. It's your choice.
Then Dale Steyn, Henderson.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to finish this without naming an Aussie, and then they'll say Pujara doesn't rate the Aussies.
No, it's not like that. But I'll have to pick another two. Philander in South Africa. I'll pick him again.
Yeah, always there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You've picked the three you've picked so far. All move the ball a lot.
Yeah.
I
think for me, I like pace and bounce. So I'm not really bothered about pace. And most of the batters nowadays, I'm sure they are not worrying. They're worrying much about someone who's bowling 145 or 150 kilometers. I mean, most of the players are used to it, used to that pace now. The last one, it's a tough one, but I think Trent Boult, the way he bowled recently in New Zealand, the way he swung the ball, I think he was really good.
It's interesting your thoughts. I mean, when you started off, there was just a change starting to come about, right? With the younger Ishant and Zaheer. How do you react to this fast bowling revolution that's come about in India? I mean, throughout 2018-19, wherever India went, the average speed of India's bowlers was more than the average speed of the opposition, and I personally never dreamt I'd see that day.
Yeah, I think I feel that it's thanks to the IPL, because I feel there have been many young fast bowlers which have come in from the IPL. They've played the short format, and if you want to get away, I mean, to survive in IPL, there are times where you need pace. It's not just about pace. Most of the cricketers do understand that. But if you have pace and if you have good Yorker in shorter format, you can bowl well. So we have seen that most of the fast bowlers have, from the shorter format, they've developed that pace and bounce. If you have pace, you always can use your short deliveries well. So I think over a period of time, from what I've observed is we have got fast bowlers from IPL.
Okay, last exercise for you before we let you go. You faced so many bowlers, you studied them closely. Here are 5 illustrations that there are takeoff on bowling actions, and let's see if you can pick them. I think you have those. You have those with you. 5 fast bowlers.
Okay, so can I start with the known ones, where I can figure out? Number 3, is it Bumrah?
Okay, go on. We'll let you know.
Number 4, Mitchell Starc.
Yes.
Number 5, Rabada.
Yes, correct.
Number 1 and 2. I'll have to have a closer look. 1 could be Bumrah as well. 1 and 3, I'm a little confused.
1 has just taken a lot of wickets for England. It's a tough one. I didn't get that actually. I started looking at it. I think 1 is Stuart Broad.
It's slightly complicated.
And 2 is Ishant Sharma.
It doesn't look like, because his leg is bent, he doesn't look tall in this.
So 4 is absolutely right. 4 is Mitch Starc. 5 is Kishore Rabada. Number 3 is Pat Cummins.
Cummins.
You saw a lot of Pat Cummins on when you were focusing on the hand. Anyway, this
is a difficult one. Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to us. I'm hoping to spend hours and hours and hours talking about your batting when you're in Australia.
Thank you, Harsha.